Welcome back. This has been an excruciating week for the Reform Party, and today wasn't any better. Neither Preston Manning nor Party Whip Calgary MP Jim Celia showed up for question period, and Jan Brown, the MP for Southeast Calgary, is threatening to quit Reform unless members stop making discriminatory remarks. John Burke reports on the furor in Manning's fold.
Last night, Preston Manning laid down the law with his Reform caucus.
I'm sick and tired of them occurring. They're going to be disciplined more strictly in the future if they continue.
The Reform leader is visibly frustrated that in a week where his party won the GST battle, it also lost the war in public credibility.
We end up fighting these brush fires that got nothing to do with that huge issue. So there's damage that it may do to the image, but there's also this just lost opportunity to perform a valuable public service.
But some caucus members back on Parliament Hill today were critical of Preston Manning.
He should have been here, in my opinion. He should have been here the minute this started to happen.
He may not have intended it, but acting caucus whip Jim Celia gave a graphic picture of the troubled party.
If he's going to be here every time one of our MPs says something stupid, he'd have to park his tent outside and just they'd be there all the time.
Jan Brown, who has already criticized the extreme elements inside the Reform caucus, is now weighing her future in the party.
I had said I'm in a timeout mode. I wasn't sure of my place yesterday, so I'm in a position where I'm reevaluating my position right now.
Dave Chatters is out of the Reform caucus until his discriminatory remarks are clarified to Manning's satisfaction. Bob Ringma resigned from his job as party whip for suggesting a company could punish homosexuals or blacks for hurting their business. Fellow reformer Myron Thompson reflected Ringma's views as well, but has not been disciplined. A fourth Reform MP, Philip Mayfield, may also have to explain comments he made as United Church minister, that homosexuality is a sin and AIDS is a message from God. All of this reinforces Jean Charest's commitment to reject any Tory Reform alliance.
It's another good reason why there will never, ever be any kind of a merger. We just have different, different values.
It has been a tough week for the party that promised to clean up politics and speak for the grassroots. Even the top-down order from Preston Manning to halt the verbal flood may not be enough to repair the damage. John Burke, Global News, Ottawa.
The Reform Party is holding a breakfast meeting in Calgary tomorrow with MP Deborah Gray. It's supposed to be about the GST, but this week's controversies are expected to surface. This was a somber day in Montreal where hundreds of police officers gathered to bury a fellow officer. They came from across North America for the funeral of Constable Andre Lalonde. He was gunned down on Monday during a routine traffic stop. Police suspect Lalonde stopped the driver for a simple noisy muffler. So far, no arrests have been made. Lalonde was set to retire this year. He leaves behind a wife and 2 children. This will be a very long weekend for hundreds of parents across Canada. They've received letters from Toronto's Hospital for Sick Children, letters warning them that their kids received possibly tainted blood. The blood was donated by a man who died of Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. The hospital says there's almost no chance the children will get sick, but that's little consolation. The hospital says warning parents was the ethical thing to do. Small aftershocks continued in Washington state today after last night's moderate earthquake. The tremor also reached as far as southern BC. There were no reports of serious injuries or damage, but it did shake up a lot of people. Here's a look at just how scary the quake was.
Folks, we just had ourselves an earthquake here in Seattle. We felt the press box rolling for a good minute. For at least a minute, the players came off the field. Fans scattered out of the upper deck. Man, that was a scary feeling just to feel this concrete stadium just roll for that length of time.
Seats started to shake and the lights were moving and we all kind of looked like, you know, an earthquake or our seats moving. So it was trippy. It was weird.
Happy birthday to you. Wait, did you guys, what is that? Is it an earthquake?
The proud papa of a kid actor was videotaping when the quake disrupts the star's big solo.
Near Duval, engineers were up at the crack of dawn this morning looking for earthquake damage. They found telltale gaps in portions of some bridges, but the most visible damage was a railing which cracked when tremors forced one underlying beam into another.
Frank Thompson is trying out his new camcorder. Note the time on the clock.
You're making the... Oh my God, honey, again.
The quake jolts the clock into chiming.
Today, residents of BC are being reminded they too live in an earthquake zone, and they're being advised to prepare their own earthquake safety plans. Well, now we check in with Jimmy Hughes again for the current weather conditions in Calgary. Jimmy?
You know, and the snow continues to fall, visibility down to less than a mile, and it's been worse than that tonight. We see in the radar another little band coming in. Our current temperature in Calgary is at 0. The winds are out of the north at 20 to 31 kilometers per hour. Gives us a wind chill factor, makes it seem a little cooler. But my main concern is the amount of slush on the road, particularly west of the city. I'll be back to tell you all the details about our, well, Mike had a good point, pathetic weather forecast. We're back right after the break.